Okay, here we go.
Okay, Bismillah. Alhamdulillah waliyyi wa salatu li nabiyyi wal ali taqiyyi wal ashab naqiyyi. Marfu zamir khurshid tanveer wa ma'ruz khatir ma'anaye tasveer. So, Alhamdulillah waliyyi, praise be to the guardian, wa salat nabiyyi, and blessings be upon his prophet, wa ali taqiyyi, and his pious family, wa ashab naqiyyi, and the pure companions. Marfu, Zamir, Khurshid, Tanveer. I think Marfu is Rafa is to be raised. The Zamir, Khurshid, Tanveer, the conscience of the illuminating sun is raised. Wa Ma'aruz Khatir Ma'ani Tasveer. And the mind, sort of a kind of like a different way of saying Zamir, Khatir Ma'ani Tasveer. Mind of
Meanings and forms.
meaning depiction is presented in this. So this is like the first introduction that this is, this is the Zamir of illuminating sun. That's, I mean, that's my reading. Let me know if you think something else. This is like a dense text. This, in Safīnat Moon se derine jame oraqas, that this is a old friend, companion. Jame oraq, a collection of papers. Ke bahasbe ittafaq, that by chance, as on fawane hangame javani, from the beginning of youth. Ke riyane ayame zindaganiyas, that is the prime of life, of the days of life. Gah awqat dar shuridgi, ahwal ahyanan gah awqat dar shuridgi, sometimes in the turmoil of circumstances, or in the times of turmoil rather, ahwalu ahyanan bitafakkure ma'al bijame an pardakhte, and occasionally in the contemplation of ma'al, I guess, like what is received from that shuridgi, the consequences perhaps, or just the wealth. Bijame an pardakhte wa do daftar kalame mansoor o manzoom ra dar chahar zurak ki ibarat as char jildast araste. That I have collected and arranged 2 volumes of prose and poetry in 4 folio, zurak ships, that which basically ki ibarat as char jildast, which means 4 volumes, adorned with araste mehtavi bil lataif wa nukat و rasail suluk و halat و fawaid سیر و hikayat az afkar و manshat baligh fitratan sakhan ras. But this word, is this rasa? Wa rasa fikratan balaghat nafs. Word after Sukhan Ras, I'm not really sure about that.
Oh, yes. And
The one
I was
I
wondering that
think
too.
Sukhan Ras. So
Rasan or but only
no, I think
Rasin or Rasin Noon.
I don't think this is a noon, because this Sukhan Rasan.
The word before Sukhan is it Fitratan?
Fitratan, yes, it's an
So
Arabic.
he's using the noon. It's noon.
Yes, that is
Same
true.
as
Rasan. Sukhan Rasan.
or it could be بلاغة نفس towards after that.
Yeah, but then why is there a noon with the nafs?
Nafsin, I don't think that.
Nafsin. Is he basically saying nafsin, like using the tanween and representing it like this?
Rasin, Ratan, بلاغة نفس.
Balaghat nafsan rozgar dar rozgar daraz wa zindagani be ambaz ke bashiran auraq leali wa anharab Okay, let's go back to the sentence so that like this is we come far ahead to इबारत चार जिल्दस आरास्ते महतवी बिल लताइफ व नुकात व रसाइल सुलूक व हालात व फवाइद सैर व हिकायात, so adorned with the subtleties and points and treatises or letters on the conduct and the
And رسائل without dots,
yes,
like or hamza.
yes,
It's not
rasail.
رسائل or رسائل.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
it's
really
without. I mean,
understand.
there are a lot of times where he misses dots. Sometimes he actually adds a wrong dot. Like, so this is, I guess, comes part and parcel of a manuscript that is 800 pages long, only one volume. So you will find these. And because there are a lot of times when he actually goes and adds the dots in red later. For example, if you look at An Pardakhte in the third line, he clearly was writing it without the dots, and then he went back and added them. Like in Fitratan, Sukhan Rasan, Nafsan, Halat, like Rasail Suluk Halat, he added the two dots in Halat, but he didn't add like the Hamza or Ya for Rasail. But that's Rasail Suluk, it does contain Rasail Suluk, so that's probably what he's referring to. So the treatise on conduct and states and benefits of Sero Hikayat and of journey and story. But he actually, we will go back to the commentary because he mentions what he means by these words.
Yes.
Yes, for example, Sair Maniye Sirat ke
Here's
after Marbut Seer. So
oh
Unfawan
yeah.
Rayan. But this might be from further down because we haven't encountered the word marbut or
سير.
marbu.
سير وحكايات.
Bale. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So of journeys and stories, Sero Hikayat as afkar o manshat, from the thoughts and compositions of those ke baligh fitratan, those with mature nature. Sukhan Rasan, like I suppose mature nature in speech, Fitratan is Sukhan Rasan. What's the word after Rasan?
Oh no.
Varasa, Sukhan Rasan or Rasa. That those who have reached this speech and reach this speech, I presume. Fikratan Balagat and clear thinkers in eloquence, expression, nafsin, rozgar daraz zindagani beambaz, like long days and unparalleled life. Beambaz ki, I think that's till where we had read.
Yeah. Notice how he uses the little rubrication marks to kind of akin to like almost like punctuation.
Right.
Like a semicolon here. Kind of.
Bishiran Oraq Leali Vanihar. So this is the pages of nights and days. I mean, I was like not sure about this, but I think this is Leali Vanhar, right? Like Lailo Nahar.
It has to be.
Yeah. And so Zindagani Biambas ke Bishiran. Oh, this is not Shiran. Ke Bishiraze Oraq Leali Banhar. Rabbi Raze Adzaye Asabi. It's Shiraze. So Shiraze is the book binding. and he gives a and biraze is also a synonym for that, and he explains that actually in
All
the
right. Yeah.
if we look at in the marginalia, he explains both of them.
Yeah.
John, can you go right?
Yep.
Yes. Shiraze
Yep.
जुज बंदी किताब बाशद व बीराजे बर हमान वजन बेमानी आनके के बाद जुज बंदी हर दो तरफ किताब रा अस्तार अबरेशम या गैर आन रिश्ते बाफी कोनंद. I see. So Shiraze is basically like the book binding, and Biraze in the same wazan, in the meaning that after you bind the book, you basically on both sides of the book with the silk thread or another thread, basically you keep it. But yes, abresham. But dar haqiqat Shiraze wa Biraze mutaradif baik wazan o mani ast. And in reality, Shiraze and Biraze are synonymous and are of the same wazan and same meaning. Wazan, I'm presuming we all know what he means by wazan here, right? If any of this is not clear, please feel free to ask and interrupt, because this is very dense,
Esoteric.
hard, esoteric prose with technical terms, some of which I know, some of which I don't know. But so while I'm leading this, I'm in no way claim to be like an ultimate expert on this. So please both ask me or interrupt me or whatever you want to do. Don't be confused, at least. We don't have to rush through this. So should we move forward?
Yeah, I was just thinking it's curious the commentary on the sides
Right. So in
doesn't seem
Faman,
in relation to the order of the text.
it does, right?
Does it? Wait, no, because Manut?
Manut, it does. Manut and Marbut does. I guess it doesn't. You're right, because he
Yeah.
comes back and then he tries to, because the Unfawan is and is there. Rayyan, he explains. They're both in the first two lines. Like
What about
Unfawan.
Aspu?
Right. So Unfawan bil zamme pesh amadane. What is it? Sorry, I need to zoom it on my computer. Bizamme pesh amadan wa peshra zahir shudan. Pesh amadan. Like basically, that comes first and is manifested first. Rayyan awwalo behtareen har cheezi. Basically, it's like the beginning and the best of everything is Rayyan. Rayyan Shabab Awwal Javani. So the prime, basically, it's the prime, Rayyan. Rayyan Shabab, like the prime of youth, like the first and best of everything, which is a very philosophical term, right? Like everything is beautiful and exciting and behtareen in the beginning, and then it all goes downhill.
Those of you who are young, still relatively young, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yes, it doesn't get better.
Well, some things get better.
No, it does. You get used to it.
What is it? Muhammad doesn't start his prophecy, his prophethood until he's 40. So
that is true. But as Sheikhul Akbar says, that the reason for that, and the reason for not just Rasulullah, everyone, like no prophet becomes a prophet before 40, and no saint becomes a qutub before 40. But the reason, or basically the doors of wisdom open at 40, because at that point, certainly your body is on the way to destruction and disintegration. And only then and then will you have wisdom once you start disintegrating. So please enjoy the Rayan before you get the wisdom.
Enjoy the Rayan.
In the marginalia, in the end of the sharh, there is a mark. Is it like after Wallahu A'lam?
So this is a mark that we have seen basically.
It must be signature, maybe.
No, this is a mark of
What
like,
the-
that's a good question if it's a
It's
signature.
finished
Oh, yeah, like tamam.
because yeah,
Tamam.
Jarullah writes his name, but it looks. But the next one I don't see clearly.
No,
We-
there is it is in the next one. It is all over this manuscript. I don't know if it appears. I think it appears in other manuscripts also.
Yeah, yes.
So this is like a mark. This is like a period in some ways. I don't know if it's a signature. It's a glyph, certainly.
Hammat. Maybe. Or like,
Mm.
So here's another one here.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows
Saw
up
it
a lot.
before, I think at the end of words, more than
Mhm.
more than one paper.
Oh, yeah, no, he uses it.
I wonder if the person
Jonathan,
who writes
we might be
that
able
one
to find
is
it in that
Here's another example.
like what was that that book, I'm forgetting its name, with the
Oh, yeah, the
Talik.
reader Talik.
Yeah, so I think that has it. I think so, that might have it,
I'll check and see.
but we can see that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see it. Yeah, we'll see it a lot. There are several of these that he uses quite consistently, and sometimes it's clear what they mean, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I think he gives an explanation.
So manut is used in this line, shahure manut, whether after. Anyway, we were so we see that he's commenting on these difficult words that he's using, but this commentary is certainly later added. So he explains certain words, like it's not in order. So I think he's reading through it, and then whatever he's thinking is important to explain, he explains it as he thinks it, and then he probably thinks that, oh, I should add that word also, and then he goes and add that later. So this is a very interesting way of I mean, like, this tells us like how this manuscript is being composed, and like we can see the process. At first he's writing the text without any dots, not all dots at least, right? And then he goes and adds the dots, then he checks the word, then he thinks of certain words that need to be explained, he explains those. And I think that this is his commentary, nobody else's, because for example, with the Shiraze and Biraze, he seems to be explaining like why he's using that. It's like a poetic, it's like a such choice, like Shiraze, Biraze, it means the same thing. This is the technical difference. They're the same wazan and the same meaning. So एतबाज के बेशिराजे औराक़ लयाली व अनहार बीराजे anhar wa biraze ajzaye asabi. Now he explains asabi as the second word. If you go above,
There it is. There.
asbu bisam hafte wa haft bar asabi bil fath sab. It's from sab.
Yeah. It's the broken floor.
And then he explains manut, which is
Minute and 1.
bechizi
Yep.
dar avikhte shode chunan ke marbut cheesy bechizi baste shode.
I think it's what you are finding this way.
Right. I mean, and he's using basically bound. Yes, exactly. So he's using the metaphor of time as like the binding of this manuscript. It's quite complex, right? I mean, it's like the Jonathan, can you go down a little bit to the same line?
Oh, you mean over here?
Yes.
Yeah. Here it is. Here we go.
कि बिशिराज औराक लियाली और नहार. So the binding is the pages of the day and night. وبراز أجزاء أصابي, and again the thread, the binding thread of the parts of the week. والشهور, it's the plural of months.
Yeah.
Yeah. شهور منوط ودر مجدلات السنين وأدوار مربوط بصرف آمده. And like basically tied together in the parts of weeks and months and bound in the volumes of years and eras. Jillidat, right? Like again, he's using an Arabic plural for jil. Wadar mujillidate sanin wa adwar, like of years, sun.
Oh, like yeah, in the cycles.
Yeah, sun, like sun. Mujallidate sanin wa adwar marbut bisarf amade. I mean, has come to use, I suppose. Has been basically, this is how it is bound. تماهية أقسام مجالس مختلف التبعي وحقيقة أنواع محافل مخالف الوزعي والصناعي در مجمع البحرين این سواد اعظم حویده و نمودار شده. So that the nature تماهية أقسام مجالس. I live near a Air Force base, so sometimes they're flying F-22 Raptors to practice how to bomb our people. The empire is always present. Can't skip it. Yes, coming back. Sorry about this. تماهية أقسام مجالس مختلف, so that the nature of various types of assemblies, وحقيقة أنواع محافل مخالف, and reality of diverse kinds of gatherings, with al-wazao sanaya dar majmu al-bahrain, with different situations. And is this, am I reading it correct? Anwai mahafil mukhalif al-wazao al-sana.
It's
محافل
how did you read after Mukhalif?
محافل
مخالف
لا
الأوضاع
وضع.
والصنايع.
Awza.
لا
Yeah.
الأوضاع
في
والصنايع.
Yeah, al-awza
والصنايع.
Science is طبايع.
در
al-awza wal-sanaya. That's how I am
در
reading.
مجموعة أو
Yep. دار مجموعة بحرين.
البحر.
Yeah, in this coming together of
در مجمع البحرين.
yes, در مجموع البحرين.
السواد أعظم.
What is that?
The situations, and what does he mean by sanaya here?
Where?
Yes, are made.
Oh yeah.
Was
As مصنوعات.
Masnuat, I see it. Basically,
But we make it like
the
this
conditions and
to be rhyme with طبايع.
yes. Sanai is like basically the
Things made by hand.
manufacturing.
manufacturing, yeah. Sana. Al-awza wa sanai dar majmu al-bahrain in sawad azam havide wa namudar shude. This so
Showtime, yeah.
Would you read that part again after Sawad al-Azam?
Havida
I'll do that.
wa namudar shude.
Khabida wa
Havi,
namuda.
ha, va, ye,
Uh-huh.
dal, he.
Khabidar.
No, Havide wa namudar.
Khabida.
He, vao, ye, dal, alif.
Hmm.
That it becomes evident and apparent.
Manifest, yeah.
Hmm.
There's synonyms.
Like Paydar Shade?
No, Padidar. Havide wa namudar. Sorry, namudar is to become apparent, like from namu yaftan is to sort of
Numune.
become evident and apparent. So
Manifest.
basically, like this is the verb that defines the, so that in the Bisarf Amade, like the previous sentence, Tamahiyat Aqsam Majalis Mukhtalif Tabaye wa Haqiqat Anwaye Mahafil Mukhalif Al-Awza wa Sanaye Dar Majmu'al Bahrain in Sawad Azam Havida wa Namudar Shude. That it becomes apparent and manifest in this basically the nature, so that the nature of various types of assemblies with different natures and the reality of diverse kinds of gatherings with different situations and industries in this great confluence of two seas becomes evident and apparent. Now I am curious about like Sawad here, like this great like like is he using Sawad the Persian way? I think so. It can't be blackness, right? It's probably like literacy.
Because it could mean like the black of the ink on the page.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. It could be also that, I mean, like it's Azam in Sawad-e-Azam. This could be, I think that might be. But what
but
Sawad also
Azam is
like literacy, scholarship, right? Sawad can also mean
like the kaba'ir, yani the big people in the scholarship, right?
So according to Red House, Sawad-e-Azam means the majority of Muslims faithful to the Caliph.
Ummah.
It also means the microcosm of poverty and need out of which the universe is developed. So like
so I see. Like, so this is the Majmu' al-Bahrain is then the
means largest of the group.
Yeah, it's like the big man.
Yani Ahl Sunnah actually I think what they mean here is like the Ahl Sunnah is referred as like a Sawad al-Azam in some of the books.
I don't know, because this is not a Ahl Sunnah text in some sense. I think it's a very, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, in the sense that, being like, there is this hadith, I think, like follow the most of the Muslims.
Yeah, because it's like the big mass, so it's dark, I guess. Is that the idea?
No, but what is the Majmu'
Sawad has other meanings, I think.
So this, although I like this idea of
like
the microcosm.
I think so.
So Red House gives it the second meaning of Sawad-e-Azam, and he puts in parentheses mystics, which suggests like this is Tasawwuf terminology.
So this might be that, right? Because the Majmu' al-Bahrain,
that's also a technical, like the meeting of the two seas.
Yes, and it can refer to many things, like we don't. I think it will become clearer later for us what this means, because for example, like in the Indian context, like the Majmu' al-Bahrain also means the coming together of the two civilizations, the Indic and the Muslim one. Majmu' al-Bahrain, for example, is also a mystical text written not too long ago, a couple of maybe a century ago, no, I mean a couple of centuries ago, from by Dara Shikoh, where he is translating under the guidance of a Sufi sheikh, and commenting on the Gita, I think, or basically like engaging with Indic philosophical texts as and trying to reconcile Sufi cosmology and theology.
I like the term in Ibn Arabi too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's used in it's certainly used in various different contexts. So I think the meaning of this will become clearer to us. Like the deeper meaning, I mean, will become clearer to us as we read the text. So, Harchand, should we move on? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe let's just pause and see if there are any questions on what we've read so far. Is everybody following along more or less?
I think I focus more on the individual like words meanings rather than the whole sentence.
Yeah,
we can read through the whole sentence like in translation to have a sense of basically like I mean, it's a very complex prose because he's like having done this happened, having done this, like this sort of like a continuous, it's like the run-on sentences which academics should not be writing.
but have been writing for millennia.
Millennia.
The other thing too, I think that makes this difficult is he's choosing his words very deliberately, and each of these words is very polyvalent.
Yes.
Right? What's really interesting to me, at least, is they're polyvalent in some cases in a way that speak to like codicology. They might speak to cosmology, to like Sufi ideas. There's so much, and to really understand what he's saying, you need command of like all that polyvalence, which is very challenging. And it's interesting too. I mean, I don't think the fact that he's given commentary suggests that he does not expect all of his readers to have command of all of that. Like, I think he recognizes that what he's doing here is quite difficult, and so he's giving you some like, assistance.
So basically, like this like a law after the praise. This is really the sentence where like that this ship is an old friend companion, which is a collection of papers that by chance from the beginning of youth, which is the prime of life, and sometimes in the turmoil of circumstances and occasionally in contemplation of the consequences, that I have collected and arranged 2 volumes of prose and poetry in like 4 zurak, which means 4 volumes, which are adorned with the subtleties, points, and treatises on conduct and states and benefits of the journey and stories from the thoughts and compositions of those with mature nature in speech and clear thinkers and eloquent expression. During, I mean, that's like in the long, basically days and unparalleled, like parallel life. And this is binds together the pages of nights and days and the parts of weeks and months and the volumes of years and eras. This has sort of has come to sight in that binding such that, or so that, the nature of various types of assemblies and reality of diverse kinds of gatherings with different situations and industries in this great confluence of 2 seas becomes evident and apparent.
Which is interesting. He's describing the process of composition, because these volumes took something like 40 years, if I remember correctly, to assemble. mean, this was when he says, you know, days, nights, weeks, months, years, he's not exaggerating. That this is almost kind of like a condensation of his time, of his life into text, while also bringing
And
together,
also of those others.
yes, and also, but also of what he's collected, right? Like
Right.
it's the past reaching back before his lifetime, as well as the lifetimes of all of these people that he's interacted with, and that he's brought them together into this confluence, which he's then put into boats.
This is the very actually the next thing becomes amazing, because then he's talking actually about the manuscript itself. Like this is a metaphysical description. The first sentence is about like, what does it contain? It contains wisdoms from eons and eras of like the masters and my own reflection, like that he has gone through turmoils, and after reflecting on those turmoils, he has found like these wisdoms and expressions and all of those things that he has collected and bound together. So it's a volume of like bound by, it's a metaphysically bound volume first, and then he talks about like the physical aspect
Actual cosmological, yeah.
कि
Those,
हर
they're
चंद
united in his mind.
हर चंद खत्म रा पसंद खातिर हाय दुश्वार पसंद न खानंद अम्मा दीदा वरान बारीक बीन नजर बे कसरत सवाद तकरीर व निगाह तरतीब दर तहरीर सुरमय चश्म उलुल अबसार दानंद. So हर चंद खत्म रा पसंद खातिर हाय दुश्वार पसंद न खानंद. That although Khatam, like now he's talking about his handwriting. Khatam, like Khatiman. De Khatam ra pasand khatir haye dushwar pasand. Na khanan. That the khatir haye dushwar pasand, like basically like fast, like dushwar pasand is like people who are fastidious, I suppose. That they may not approve of it, right? Pasand na khanan, like they may not like it. Amma dida varane barik been, and however the keen-sighted observers, like those who are barik been, who can see like these tiny details. Barik is like really thin, right? Barik been, those who see, like people who split hairs, right? Dida varan, like the split, like people who can see. Dida varane barik been, the keen-sighted observers. Nazar be kasrat te sawad taqreer wa nigah tartib dar tahrir, considering the kasrat te sawad taqreer, like abundance of I guess sawad taqreer, like written descriptions, like the black,
Black.
written descriptions, because sawad also means in Farsi to read and write. So this description of like the written descriptions. One nigah tartib dar tahrir, and tartib dar tahrir and the arrangement in writing. Surmaye chashmaye ulul absar danan. They will consider it as a goal for the eyes of those with insight. अगरचे नविश्ते अमरा खाली अज रुतबो याबस व मोतबर चेगुने तवान निगाश्त कि अगरचे, and although नविश्ते my writing रखाली as रुतबो Yabis?
Yeah.
Is this
Wet and dry?
wet and dry?
Yeah.
Yes. Vamautebar chegune tavan negasht. Vakhushkhat va yak kalam Namish natawan gomasht.
One
So, agarche, even though my writing,
Black.
uh,
Dry.
although my writing cannot be considered from wet and dry, what does he mean by that? Does he mean and reliable, I suppose? Wet and dry and
Wet and dry.
What is the word after khali? Khali as
khali as rut.
Rut. Like wetness.
Isn't it a dal or something
No, it's
after
a
B?
wow. Ratbu yabas. Wet and dry.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
see, it looks like it's
Mhm.
connecting to the bed, but it's
Chegune tawan negasht.
not able to what?
Does it refer to writing?
Bakhush khat. Mu'tabar chegune tawan negasht bakhush khat. And it's like it cannot, how can it be considered reliable and well written? Vayak kalam namish natawan gomasht, and of like one of consistent handwriting. Lekin ba wasf khatte ma yaqra, legible, and with the description of legible writing, mukhtaliful aqlam, of different pens.
Different
Yes,
scripts.
yes. It refers to writing.
Yes, yes. So he's talking
And
about
sawad also means like when you make a mistake, that blackness there, if you like, if you can't erase it and if it stays there as a mistake, that's also called sawad, right?
It also means to write and read in Farsi. It means to write. It means to copy. It means literacy, scholarship. So he's
Is it
using
with the same letters?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Sawad.
Yeah, because we call it like karalama in Turkish. That could mean yani people could describe themselves like, I know how to do, karalama. That means I am involved in writing, how to do, I can't remember the English word for that, but
Doesn't it also mean
it
a
could
draft?
refer to scholarship.
But he's talking about clearly the handwriting, right? Khush khat, khatam ra pasand khatir hai dushwar pasand na khanand. Amadida varane barik been. So he's playing with the images with the words that are referring to the black ink and the handwriting, because he's talking about nazar be kasrat sawad taqdeer wa nigah tartib dar tahrir surmay chashme ulul absar danan. So he's playing with the word sawad as like sawad taqreer, the writing of speech, but also that writing is black and the surma is black, so the coal. So he's playing with both the meanings of it.
Lotus, did you have a question?
I was just thinking about the word savad. It also, I seem to remember, like, one of the historical chronicles, the writer uses it to mean draft or manuscript.
Yes. Yes, definitely. That's what muswadda also means, draft. Yes, that was the English word that I couldn't remember. Thank you.
Oh, and then there's the fair copy as well.
Yeah, a copy, a draft, a manuscript.
Yes.
There we've kept the like color distinction, but for draft we have not. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. So, should we go ahead and read further?
Yeah, at least get to the end of the page, I think.
Yeah. Where were we?
ليكن بوصف.
लेकिन बवस्फ खत्त माए करे मुख्तलिफ अक़लाम के लाजिम सफ़ाइन खास व आम است. That with the description of legible handwriting of different pens, खत्त मा यक़रे मुख्तलिफ अक़लाम of different pens, which is necessary कि लाजिम सफ़ाइन खास व आम است, which is necessary of, I suppose he's referring to manuscripts as Safine.
Yeah.
Or like of special and common manuscripts, right? Are they written with different pens?
Different scripts. Yeah.
Right. بَاعْتِبَارِ تَرَاهِيِ كِتَابَت, like considering the design of the writing. وَأَنْبُوهِيِ إِسْتَكْتَاب, and the abundance of transcription. गरीब मेहनती बेकार रफ्ते, a strange गरीब मेहनती इस्तक्ताब मेहनती बेकार रफ्ते. Okay, let me read this again. लेकिन बवस्फ खत्त माए करे मुख्तलिफ अक़लाम के लाजिम सफ़ाइन खास तेरो आमस्त बएतबार तर्राही किताबत व अम्बोही इस्तक्ताब गरीब मेहनती बेकार रफ्ते व तरफे सनअती बेरूए कार आमदे. And this is continuing, I think, this effort, like that is strange. I don't know what he means by istak gharib here. A strange effort has been having employed as strange or new or unknown effort. وَتَرْفَيْ sanati beruye kar amade, and a unique sort of craft has come into play. I see. Oh, I see. Ambohi istaktabe gharib. I think he's referring to basically strange transcriptions, like the different forms of transcriptions that people see that he's collecting, right? He's saying amboh. So it's a gathering, like a jama, right? Ba'atabare tarrahi kitabat, like again, the design, which is also very strange, like new in that sense. Ambohi istaktabe gharib mehnati bekar rafte. मेहनती बेकार रफ्ते व तरफ़े सनती बेरुए कार आमदे. That you know, that effort has been employed and unique craft has come into play with the use of different pens and considering the design and of writing and the abundance of transcription, because remember he's also copying, I think, from different manuscripts. Now this will again probably become more clear as we see. बर तकदीर जलवाए इन मानी व मुशाहिदे ये इन सूरत तमाशायान नए रंग खाने बसीरत. अगर चार जिल्द ऊरा चार बाग दिल कुशा व हर कद्दे ऊरा रोज़े राहत अफजा खानंद. This is a conditional sentence. बजास्त. So बर तकदीर जलवाए इन मानी व मुशाहिदा ये इन सूरत, upon the appearance of this what is it in mani or is it anmi?
That's in
Anmi.
Huh. Stuff like that.
I
I
think
think it's
the word
unmeaty.
above is باعتبار, so
think
it's
so.
not noon. I think it's ألف ياء ميم عين.
Ismaili, maybe.
In-
The upper word is باعتبار, so it's
Yeah.
not the dot of noon.
I
Hmm.
think
Yes,
it's I think it's unmeaty, probably from nama'a, like brightness.
Hmm.
Jalwa unmeaty
Okay, so
but
from nun
Ismaili.
So the
nun
dot is merged.
like bright jalwe. No, I'm talking about the word below be'tab. Be'tab bar taqdir
But
jalwa
I think the nokta belongs to itibar though.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's باعتبار, the upper word.
Maybe it's doing double duty.
yes.
But the first time we went a lot in the manuscript, and this is the first time
Ismaili.
and do it before.
Yeah.
I think he in some like this is something that we have to come to, like this is a peculiarity of this manuscript, that it sometimes you don't have words, sometimes you have words that are
You don't mix them. No.
like you in wrong places, sometimes in I don't know, I mean this might be doing double duty, but I don't know what else could this word be. I'm trying to see.
Hmm.
Let me check. Noon.
I mean, it's likely to be an Arabic.
Yes.
Could be a plural, would be my guess. This would be parallel with mushahidi. So, you're looking. I do like how you can see his working process.
yes.
Like they rubricated, he also made these corrections, which is really great. I mean, it makes sense. Like it's economy, right? Like
I
if
mean,
you're
it could also be just jalwa in mani,
yeah, that's true.
right?
Well,
Like
there's these two dots down here, right?
right. So there is a ya here for sure. Yeah. So I think it's probably jalwa in mani, that the bar taqdeer jalwa in mani wa mushahida in surat, the manifestation of these meanings and the observation of these forms. That's probably I think it is.
Yeah.
Like the appearance of this meaning and the observation of this spectacle. Tamashayan nerang khana basirat, the spectators of the nerang khana is the color house of insight. Agar chahar jilde ura, char baag dil kusha, if they consider, basically khwanan is the verb here, that if they consider if they call it 4 volumes, 4 delightful gardens, وَهَرْ قَطَّيَ أُورَى رُوزَيَ رَاحَتْ أَفْزَى, and each piece a joy increasing paradise. Bajast, it is appropriate.
Wrote a blurb for his own book.
وَهَرْ جُزْء उशरा अरसाए गुलजारी وَهَرْ वरक़िश را सफ़हे नौ बहारी दानन. And if they consider every part of it a field of flowers, and each page like a page of spring, new spring. وَأَغَرْ سَيْرِ هَرْ جُزْء, and it is fitting, I mean theme. وَأَغَرْ سَيْرِ هَرْ جُزْء از جزائش گرفته, and if like touring, ser giriftan, like if the tour, if like they roam around in the parts of each part of these parts, khatirra, like their mind, and then I guess let me go to the next page. Khatirra bi manziliye gulistani,
Okay.
So yeah, so basically he's comparing it to now from the sea we have come to a garden of delight. That if they call its 4 volumes 4 delightful gardens, and each piece a joy increasing paradise, it is appropriate. If they consider each part a field of flowers and each page a page of spring, it is fitting, because touring each part of its parts captivates the mind to, I suppose, to the level, or takes the mind to the manzil, to the station
Rose garden
of Gulistan. Okay. I think we can stop at the introduction for now, and then we can read more. I thought you wanted to read another section, so.
Well, it's almost like we've only got like 10 minutes left, so.
Okay.
Probably.
Fair enough.
We could see, let's at least read down to the funky symbol here. And maybe look at
wants to now read my
I think it appeared in the first paper.
I
think it appears in the first paper, maybe.
What appears in the first paper?
Oh, the symbol? Yeah, he uses it pretty often.
We saw it before.
Yes.
I don't remember where.
It's like a paragraph marker, kind of.
It could be ha or ra. It could be double. I don't
Well, so
remember.
this symbol, this is ra right here. The little, I don't know what to call that.
Glyph, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I don't think this symbol has semantic meaning. I think it's just kind of a punctuation mark or a placeholder. I mean, we can stop here. Also, if anybody else would like to volunteer to read. Subino, you're shaking your head. You don't want to try and read and translate?
Well, I mean, we can all translate together. Why not? You guys are what? I mean, I'm curious about what you all think about this text. Is it difficult? I mean, I guess it is difficult, but I'm wondering how you feel about it. I can read it. That's not a problem, but I was just wondering if somebody wants to. Who has Persian here? Do I have to do that?
Technically, I do, but this is beyond me. Like, it's something that I would have to read over and over again by myself before I attempt to read it in front of other people, especially aloud.
I mean, so would I, but okay, let's try.
तमाशाई और सफाई as Rakesh.
Inbisat pira, Gulistanist inbisat. Inbisat pira, inbisat is expansion, right?
It's an
expansion from bust.
Stage of bust,
Yeah, qabzu bust. Inbisat, and pera is, I think it's from peraish, adorning, decorating.
Yeah.
Inbisat pira wa tamashayi bimanzil Gulistani inbisat pira. I'm trying to see if it connected to the previous sentence. Wa tamashayi har safai az awraqish farigul bal ra mushabeh chashmani nishat afza agar guyam visali mayub bashad.
After Fariul Bal,
Ra.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is Ra.
This is a Ra.
That's a Ra. Okay.
Yes.
Bal Ra. Bal Ra.
Bal.
Awraqish. Farigul Balra.
Balra, and then?
Bimashabih Jamanistanist. Bimashabih is from Mushabihat, like basically comparing. Bimisle, like a meadow, a grassland. Jamanistanist Nishat Afza Agar Guyam. Nishat Afza is joy. But if I say Visali Mayu Bashad, Agar Guyam.
Nishat. What I missed?
I think the Jamanistanist is let's wait probably one sentence. In Bisat Pira, Bimanzile Gulistanist in Bisat Pira wa Tamashai Har Safe az Auraqish Farigul Bal Rabe Mushabih Jamanistanist. Ah. So if we go to the previous page, this may make more sense.
To know information. Nishat Afza.
No, Nishat Afza is Nishat is joy, and Nishat Afzaish is to increase. So Nishat Afza is again, this is continuing the previous metaphor of the garden, like how
like Nash'ah also comes from
if they call it 4 volumes, 4 delightful gardens, and each piece a joy in paradise. It is appropriate, and if they consider each part a field of flowers, and each page a page of
this is very nice description of a book. I never heard of this, like describing is like the Garden of Eden and like Jannat or Bahche.
Right. So agar sayr har juzve u az ajzaish girifte khatir ra be manzile chamanistani. So if they basically dwell in this garden, they will reach the Rose garden. In Bisat Pira wa Tamasha har safhe az auraqish farigul bal ra be mushabeh chamanistani. What's the subject here?
It's Tamasha. Every the man, like the sight of every page from its pages will,
I mean, adorned with joy and viewing each page of its leaves for the carefree garden, for the carefree mind. It's like a meadow. It's like a meadow for the carefree mind, basically. That is adorned with joy. And then Nishat Afza Mushabih Chamanistani. Nishat Afza Agar Goyam Visali Mayub Bashat. नजर बेखुशहाली कुलूब است अगर मुरक्क़े ऐवान मज़मूम बाद तवक्कुए बिस्तहसान हुजूम است बेहकीकत सनाए अरकाम व बदाए कलाम अगर कुलूब खास व आम्र मरगूब शवद कुदाम महल शगुफ्त व इस्तिफ़ाम बुवद. Okay.
Timur, do you remember at some point in here, I remember reading, he describes the opening pages and why they're pink and blank. Do you remember this? Uh-oh, you're muted.
I do remember reading it, but this is actually I don't know if where it was.
I don't either.
I mean, I wonder if it is also connected to this.
It seems like it because it's like this description of the book.
Right.
That's a book. I'm curious before we go, because we got a couple minutes. What are the colored text? You have red and green.
It's a poem. It's a شعر.
Okay.
Yeah.
والنعم ما قال الشاعر فتنة صدای انجمن آشوب صد میخانه‌ایم در بظاهر چون شراب کهن خاموشیم ما. واہ.
No, yep.
صدای انجمن آشوب صد میخانه‌ایم گر بظاهر چون شراب به کهن خاموشیم ما. فتنه صد انجمن آشوب صد میخانه‌ایم. فتنه صدای فتنه صد انجمن آشوب صد میخانه‌ایم. So we are the fitna of the the 100 gatherings of Ashub of the in the 100 wine taverns, even though like old wine we are silent.
Interesting.
Oh
yeah.
So I think he's explaining what he says about this manuscript. बहरमंद परगारून हस्ती व कायनात बिलबास से मतानत असास तर शहरिस्तान फसाद व बलागत नज़्म बर नसर बर्स बीर यादगार गुज़ाश्ते. I see. Yeah, I mean, this here is, I guess, it'll become this is interesting. I'm curious what he means, what he's referring to the khamoshi and what he is referring to the fitna here. दाना और चश्म बीना बेनिगाह इंसाफ आशना आगाज़ कि चहार ज़ूरक दार मुल्क चहार ज़ूरक दारुल मुल्क इंसाने बल्कि हर ज़रूक बेजाय खुद बहरिस्त लबरेज जवाहिर मानी. So Dana, like the intelligent one, and Chashm Bina, those who have insight, Benegah Insaf Ashna, like a fair. I mean, this is interesting. There's an anxiety about like being judged. So he's always referring to those who have insight, those who are Negahe Insaf Ashna, like fair judging meant rather than out of jealousy or something else. Agast knows कि चहार ज़ूरक दारुल मुल्क इन सफीने, that the 4 barges of like the Darul Mulk of this Safina is rather every Zurak in itself is a Bahr, is a sea. Labrez Jawahir Maani, it is full of the jewels of meaning. Besurate Amwaj Alfaz Sutur Dar Anha Dar Anhar Jadawul Pedast. In the form of the waves of words and lines. Daranha in it, Rajdawal Pedas. What is
which one?
Rajdawal? I mean, what?
Dar Anhar Jadaval. It's streams.
Right, Jadaval.
It's Arabic plural.
What's of what?
Rivers.
No. But
Anhar.
what is the ray here?
Which one are you trying to figure out?
Alfazu Sutur. And after that?
Alfazu Sutur. Dar Anhar Jadaval.
Oh, Anhar Jadaval.
Yeah.
From Nahr. Anhar Jadaval.
Yeah, it's just the plural of Nar.
Right. Anhar Jadaval. Right. I was. در انهار جداول پیداست یا شهریست فیض بحر که هر جزوش رسته بازاری است. That it's a city of Fez, that every part of it is a path to the bazaar.
A lot of these kind of like here, looking at metaphors of like overflow, abundance,
Yes.
very liquid metaphors.
Yes. Az raghaib o nawa dar piraste, that it is adorned with sounds and desire. Raghaib is wishes, I suppose, like interests. ومهيئ صفحه هر ورقش برجسته دکانی است. پیراسته و مهیا. I see. از رغایب و نوا در پیراسته و مهیا صفحه هر ورقش برجسته دکانی است. That this شهر, every path of it leads to, that every juz is a path to the bazaar of like wishes and sounds that it is adorned with and is provided, and that every folio, every page of every folio is a dukan, is like a shop in itself. Ma'mur barbaste az sir as-sarmaye, that it is filled with or built with and bound with wealth. Bijihat sarmaye.
What is this word? Hajat?
Sarmaye. Hujjat? No.
Would behjet would be?
No, there is a noon of anwa below. So there's a dot, the dot belongs to anwa, but the dot under
here. Yeah. That should go
maybe
here.
that dot belongs to anwa, and there's a behjat.
Muhabbet maybe.
Right here. You guys see?
Muhabbet doesn't have that ha, right? So
Could be bahjat.
could be what?
Bahjat. I see.
Oh, yeah.
It's no, it's gimt hagat.
Hajat, hujjat, bihujjat.
That makes sense.
Hajat.
Do you have like hijab? So someone.
I mean, sarmaya bihujjat was surur के मालिकान अरसे सुखनवरी व सौदायान खित्ते मानी परवरे जवाहिर जवाहिर आबदार अफकार खुद के अनवाए तहफ वो बदायाय अक्सर दियार व मताए नफाए से चंदीन रोजगार است. Okay, now we have a verb finally.
Who needs verbs? Only weak-minded people need verbs.
Yes.
True sages can just communicate through endless strings of izafat. That's all you need.
जिहत कामयाबी व बहरामंदी बाज़ायंदगाने कारवान हस्ती व कायनात बिलिबास मतानत असास दर शहरिस्तान फसाहत बलागत नज़्म नसर बर सबील यादगार गुज़ाश्ते हैं. Okay, this one is more clear. So now we go back. So what did we decide was the sarmaya?
They had Bajat.
What is that? Behjat.
Maybe the Behjat. So like shading or something. I don't know.
Behjat.
That seems to work.
Behjat.
The next word is surur or
Surur. Behjat to surur. I think it's behjat means Does it mean
Enjoyment.
joy?
Like brightness. Yeah, beauty, joy,
Joy.
brightness.
Joy, right.
Like, yeah.
Sarmaya behjat surur, that it is basically every page is a shop that is full of the sarmaya, the capital of joy and ecstasy. Ke malikane arsay sukhanwari, that the owners of the fields of Sukhanwari, of like speech masters, وَالصَّوْدَائِيَانِ خِطَّيْ مَانِي, and the traders of the of خِطَّيْ مَانِي Parvari, Mani Parvari. Oh, and the traders of the, I guess, field of meaning making. Jawahir
Jewels. What is this?
Zawahir?
Zawahir? Yeah, from Zawahir. From Zahra. The plural of Zahra. The jewels.
Jewels and
Flowers. Or shine.
flower. Jawahir, Zawahir, Abdar, shining.
Yeah.
Abdar, Afkar Khud. Jawahir, Zawahir, Abdar, Afkar Khud. The jewels and flowers, shining flowers of their own thoughts. Ki anwaye tohuf badayaye aksar, that like gifts and again guidance. Aksar diyar, huh?
Sorry, Hadai.
No. Oh, you're
I
right.
read it.
Bidaya, it's not.
Yeah.
Beginning. Tahafu bidaya badi. Is it hidayah? Tahafu bidaya ye aksar. Is it hidayah? No, it's not hidayah.
No, it's Zub. This is a
It's a be. No,
Well,
it's a va. It's a va. It's a va.
تحف وهدايا.
Yes. Tuhaf wa hidayah, that's true. I think the
okay.
ha is not written. It's a tuhaf wa hidayah ye aksar diyaru mataye nafaye se chandin rozgar ast. That let's read. Can we go above a little bit? I think basically it's defining dukan. हर वरकिश बरजस्ते दुकानीस्त मामूर बरबस्ते सरमाये बहजत सुरूर के मालिकान अरसाए सुखनवरी व सौदाइयान खित्ताए मानिए परवरी जवाहिर जवाहिर आबदार अफकार खुद के अनवाए तहफ बदायाए अक्सर दियार व मताए नफाये से चंदीन रोजगार अस्त जहत कामयाबी व बहरामंदी बाज आयंदेगान कारवान हस्ती कायनात बिल्लबास मतानत असास दर शहरिस्तान फसाहत बलागत नज्म नसर बरसबील यादगार गुजाशते हैं. We have a verb.
Oh,
We have a verb. Yadgar guzashte hain. That's what I was looking for. So so they have left as like these gifts and hadaya, and these gifts of different places and the wealth of the no souls or breaths of various ages.
yeah.
Jihate kamyabi or behramandi, in in the direction of success and benefiting. Baz behramandiye baz ayandigan, of those like us who are going to come after them. Azayandegane Karavane Hasti, the basically those who will come after in this caravan of being. Karavane Hasti wa Kainat, and the cosmos, Jesus. Bilibase Matanat Asas dar Shaheristan Fasahat Balagate Nazmun Nasar. In the barb of matanat, of contentment. No, matanat is how would you translate matanat? durability,
Mhm.
bilibase, like, or equanimity. I mean, isn't matanat like equanimity, like a calmness, a sense of sort of,
I'm gonna look it up.
yeah, like a constancy, like an internal sense of stasis or peace.
Yeah, a being firm, firmness,
Yeah,
solidity.
balibase matanat, that, you know, matanat asas, is it like balibase matanat asas shayad? That might make more sense, because matanat asas is like, it's basically something, because matanat is the goal, right, of the yeah, and I think this is, we can stop here, that matanat is the goal of this becoming. So matanat asas is like that, balibase matanat asas, that in the form of matanat founding, I don't know how to translate it. Basically these things that provide matanat, like can become the foundation of the matanat of those who come after, in the city of fasahat and balaghat of eloquence, and fasahat و balaghat nazm و nasr of poetry and prose, barsabile yadgar guzashte, have basically as a way of
remembrance.
Yeah, they have left it for us. We
A
missed
lot.
the above 3 lines, but I guess we can get back to those the next time. The garden metaphor.
All right, I will stop sharing now.
This is a wow.
Oh, it's a difficult text, but I do wonder, like, is this helpful to y'all, like working through a difficult Persian text? I know it is for me, because I probably would not. I would just skip a lot of this sort of thing, to be totally honest.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be able to read it like Timur is doing. So thank you for really, I appreciate that. And it's difficult at the same time to translate, because like for you probably the same case, but for me, like, I am very familiar and we are using those Persian words, most of the vocabulary, but it's not easy to translate at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy for me either. I'm trying. Next
You know,
time
one
I
of the things,
advance.
my first, like, kind of Arabic teacher in grad school, one of the things that he, like, tried to impress on us when we would do our, like, reading groups was, like, read the introductions. Because you don't want to. I mean, because this is true of Persian, it's true of Arabic. They're so dense and difficult, but the authors are, like, they're laying out a lot of information about how they're often structuring their texts, how they're interpreting it, kind of presenting it to the world. So it's unfortunate. These are often pretty vital, you know, maybe only 2 or 3 pages, but
Yes.
they are presenting a lot. And it is really tempting to, like, skip over them. And I have definitely done that in other texts where it's like, oh my God, I can't read any more of this, you know, Sajд or whatever.
No, I mean, even if you look at, like, the translations of classical Persian texts, like, nobody translates these introductory passages, even in poems. Like you look at Dick Davis's translations, even, like, you know, those introductory, like the Tarif-e-Sukhan, these passages about, like, why. That's where all literary theory is. That's where all, like, the cosmology is. That's the key to meaning and understanding those texts. And all modern readers have completely skipped
them because they're so,
like,
so
they
hard.
wanna, you know, read it as tabula rasa and understand it on our own. Like, that's, like, astonishing. I mean, when I first
Although,
started finding that
I
out,
have noticed as I've been cataloging this South Asian stuff, this sometimes happens in manuscript culture, where you'll have a Masnavi or something, and then it has a prose muqaddimah, and later copies, they don't always include it. Sometimes they strip it out. and just
I
go
mean,
straight.
Prose Muqaddimah is one thing, right? But even in the case of Masnavis, the introductory section that is non-narrative, nobody reads it even like in the Western Academy.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, like, you know, let's go to the narrative. So
Often you have to negotiate with your publisher, right? There are so many structural reasons why they won't translate it, because the publisher, like, look at the Dick Davis's translation of the Shahnameh, for example. There's so much missing. It's already almost like 1,000 pages in English, even though it's not the entire thing. And so you have to negotiate with the press about, you know, whether you can include footnotes, you know, to what extent can you footnote or give notes for anything, you know, how much of the introductory material can you include, because it's pages and money and all of that. And so it often becomes just this logistical issue. It's not even, no one's really thinking about the intellectual side of things.
that's
Well,
fair.
it's hard to read, but it's deliberately hard to read.
Yeah.
I mean, these authors knew what they were doing, right? Like,
I mean, we saw that like after like
navigation is part of it.
Yeah.
it will become, I mean, but it will, I think it will become easier, this particular introduction. But a lot of times, I mean, even you're right, absolutely. I think you're right. That's a publishing issue. But even in non-translations, when people are writing about it, right? Nobody writes about those things. Like
Yeah.
to me, like that's one of the another thing that I want to write once, like what is poetry in the Islamic tradition? And you can answer that question. You don't have to read any poems. You can just read introductions of like 10 Masnavis and you have a whole theory of poetics.
Yeah.
That's where all, and those sections are all like called, literally they're all called Tarif-e-Sukhan.
Mm-hmm.
They are labeling it as literary theory, as poetic theory, as philosophy. I mean, and then that involves cosmology, that involves the metaphysics, that involves epistemology, that involves like the theory of language.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not read. But we are reading it, so.
Yeah. I mean, we
And
can
start a new
continue.
school of Persian studies.
I should.
Very important. So I think maybe for next week, I mean, if people are okay with it, we can continue working through. I mean, he gets into, I'm looking ahead. There's a section, oh no, it's a footnote on like technical terminology. It looks like he talks about dates of composition and maybe a bit of a roadmap of how he did this. It goes, let's see how many pages are there. I mean, so there's not a lot. We're on page 29. We're on page 2, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.5 really pages to the introduction. Which is not too
Yeah,
bad.
and I think this introduction is key for various reasons, including the ones we discussed, but also like, you know, it's great practice.
Would it be possible to distribute the section of the manuscript beforehand so that maybe for people like me who are like still learning can read, maybe become more prepared next time? Would it be possible?
Sure.
Yeah. And then what we read today, I will see if I can try and like put up the translation somewhere. I can make a document for like rough translations that so that, because I mean the problem with this introduction is with this difficult